Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. It's Monday, October 19th. I hope you had a good weekend. A very quick update on big news from over the weekend, including this headline. Pelosi set a stimulus deadline yesterday for tomorrow. So we have 24 hours left, according to her, to get a stimulus deal done in order for it to be signed before the election. So Mnuchin and Pelosi are talking today. I'm going to give a quick update on that. Also, some big news on what a blue wave on election day could mean for a stimulus. It's good news for all of us who are pro-stimulus and for all of us who want more benefits for unemployment, stimulus checks, etc. At the same time, I'm going to talk about this, how a blue wave on election day could unleash $2.5 trillion economic in stimulus. This is according to Goldman Sachs, and what we might expect if Democrats control the Senate, the House, and the White House. So let me get into this. As always, thank you so much for subscribing. But first, good news today. Last week I told you we're previewing our Skip. As of a couple hours ago, it is now available on both the App Store and Google Play. I'm going to leave a link in the description. We've also announced it on our Hello Skip blog. So download it now for two reasons. One, we are going to pick more stimulus check winners this Wednesday. Another way where you can be eligible is not only by subscribing to this channel, but also downloading our app. Number two, later today, we are going to update on the latest stimulus news. Basically, whatever comes out of stimulus negotiations today, we will put on the blog rather than me doing another video today. So download the app, link is in the description, or search Hello Skip on the App Store or Google Play. Okay, first let's talk about what Nancy Pelosi said Sunday. She said that her and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin must reach an agreement within 48 hours if they want to pass a coronavirus stimulus relief bill before Election Day. Her quote, "The 48 only relates to if we want to get it done before the election, which we do," Pelosi said in an interview on ABC's This Week. "But we're saying to them, we have to freeze the design on some of these things. Are we going with it or not? And what is the language?" So finally, there is some forcing function. All of us are frustrated that this has lasted as long as it has, but she's finally put a deadline for this Tuesday, which would be exactly 2 weeks before Election Day, to nail down the legislation so everyone can vote on it before the election. Meanwhile, Republican senators are basically in two camps right now. There are those that are up for re-election that are pushing stimulus talks, and there are those that aren't up for re-election that frankly aren't talking about it at all. They want to be seen as being conservative. They don't want to talk about more money. Mitch McConnell is up for re-election, and he announced on Saturday that there will be votes on stimulus measures this week, including a standalone paycheck protection program to help small businesses. Same deal with some of the other Republican senators as well. And here's Fortune's take today. Stimulus talks are truly down to the wire because of the deadline I mentioned that Nancy Pelosi mentioned yesterday. Mnuchin and Pelosi talked this morning, and they are talking this afternoon. They are still far apart, according to this article, on issues like coronavirus testing. Just to recap, Democrats want $2.2 trillion. The White House has gone up to $1.8 trillion. So that's $400 billion gap, which is a lot of money. Of course, Trump wants to get a deal done before Election Day too, so let's see what Mnuchin comes back with today. Of course, the flip side is whether this will pass in the Senate or not. If enough Republican senators don't want to pass it, this may be dead anyway. And Fortune mentions this here. Republican senators, including Rick Scott and Marsha Blackburn, have already rejected the idea of passing a stimulus package of $1.8 trillion, let alone $2.2 trillion. These two are not up for re-election, so they're coming out strongly and saying they don't want more stimulus funding, especially in that amount. And here's another take similar to the perspective I just mentioned. The White House seems willing to spend whatever to win, which is logical. They want to win the election, right? So they could say $1 trillion, $2 trillion, $3 trillion. They just want to win. Now Republican senators who want to be fiscally conservative aren't going to give in here because there's no reason for them to. Now let's say an agreement isn't reached by tomorrow, Tuesday. What could happen? We've been watching deadlines for months now. There was the July 31st deadline where we thought that there would be an agreement because the unemployment boost ended, but there wasn't. So then Trump did executive orders, which helped somewhat, but not that much. And frankly, we've been following deadlines since the end of July. In August, we thought, okay, before vacation, after vacation for the House and the Senate, but nothing. So now we're talking about tomorrow, which will be exactly 2 weeks before the biggest election in our lifetimes. Can Mnuchin reach Pelosi's agreement? And even if they do, will Senate Republicans want to pass the bill? Still very uncertain. However, here is the big piece that Goldman Sachs says that Yahoo's covered here. A blue wave on Election Day. What happens if Democrats take control? Goldman Sachs said today in a new note that a blue wave could lead to a whopping $2.5 trillion new stimulus plan. This would likely include a stimulus package in Q1, followed by infrastructure and climate legislation. In this scenario, we would expect legislation expanding health and other benefits financed by tax increases to pass in Q3. Investors are seeing this as well. They're increasingly preparing for a Democratic sweep in November and front-loaded stimulus to boost the economic recovery. On this call JP Morgan had, again, many speakers and market participants said they see a so-called blue wave solidifying with little time left for President Trump to shift momentum in his favor. That's some of the Monday good news as I see it. There was a line in the sand for tomorrow, Tuesday, to get something done before the election, but if nothing gets done, and again, we are down to 2 weeks, there is a good chance that there will be an even larger stimulus after the election if Democrats take over. What do you think about that? Please share in the comments, and stay tuned for this Wednesday where we pick 2 more stimulus giveaway winners. And of course, download our free app. It takes 2 seconds, and you will be able to stay up to date on the latest information here, including a post later today on key information and anything that happens in the negotiations between Mnuchin and Pelosi. As always, thank you so much for supporting our channel. Stay well, stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.